Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Going to spend some time with Frank Granett. Going to talk a little bit about, we got an ongoing stuff that we've been focusing on when it comes to reevaluating and challenging the ways we look at mental health and how we take care of ourselves. He's with a group called Coalition Against Over-Medicating Our Youth, CAOOY.org, working in conjunction with the Price of Business show as we work together to try to educate people to challenge conventional wisdom when it comes to these things. And we're doing a series we call The Price of ADHD Business. Frank, welcome as always.
Hey, great to be on, Kevin. And today is more of a controversial program because, 2 years ago, if we were talking 2 years ago, if we were having the discussion about ADHD stimulants for the treatment of kids and adults with ADHD symptoms, we would look at the risk factors for addiction and going to other types of habits, if you will, like tobacco. And today's segment is ADHD Blows Away the Smoke, and we have a great guest today with us. He is Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, and he goes by the Dr. Kevin Show. He is the host of that show and author of the book, Managing the Gift of Your ADHD Child. And Dr. Kevin, great to have you on with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Where are you located, by the way, Kevin?
I'm located in Phoenix, Arizona.
Very good. Go ahead with your first question, Frank.
Dr. Kevin, the statistics that are out there surrounding ADHD, we're looking at 11 to 12% of American children, with the age of 4 to 17 being diagnosed with ADHD. That's pretty much a known fact. 7 or 8 out of 10 children that take an ADHD drug will have a positive initial response with that drug therapy. But now there's a lot of research, and the first question I have is, this latest research. Can you explain how this came about? Where in the past, like 2 years ago, ADHD stimulant use, especially in kids, would actually be more of a risk factor for other types of addictions like tobacco, and now this all basically has been reduced. Explain how that came about.
Well, what I can tell you is that any research study can say anything we want it to say when we play with numbers and we look at it. What I do understand in working with ADHD since the late 90s, that the byproducts of ADHD, the isolation, the anxiety, the shame, the fear, constantly feeling like, and especially as a child, that nobody can tell you how to do it right in a way in which you are hearing it, that you are extremely bright but you're flunking tests, that they cannot seem to communicate in a way in which to manage, to actually have you manage and step into that gift, that this would create an anxiety pattern that something like cigarette smoking could calm down. Why do people smoke cigarettes? When did cigarette smoking become so popular? Wasn't it, during World War II, the Red Cross handed out cigarettes to soldiers because they were in high-stress situations. When you're living with ADHD and no one is being able to help you understand how to work with it and recognize it as a gift, you're living in a much more stressful, anxious world. Also, cigarette smoking still has a kind of an inclusive group feeling to it. Smoking is still being portrayed as cool, no matter what we say we've done with the media or what we've put out there. And these are kids that want to belong. So I don't believe that the medication, has any byproduct of decreasing it. I think when we drug kids up and we dumb them down, that there is less of a need to find different ways and to deal with the environmental issues that surround the ADHD child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by the way, Doctor, I do want to mention, Doctor, the whole segment is about 8 minutes, and I know both Frank and I have a lot to cover, so I appreciate your thoroughness, but but try to keep that in mind in your questions and being answered. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Next question.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to make sure we get your website in, too, while we're at it.
www.mydrkevin.com, MYDRKEVIN. And that's my website, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn. You put those letters in, you'll find me everywhere.
Awesome. Yeah, I get that. I already did a little Google search, and you are all over the place. Go right ahead, Frank.
Yeah, Dr. Kevin, what is the primary reason? I know there could be many reasons, but the main reason the ADHD stimulants, now this is with long-term use, so say we have a child on this medication for many years, what's the main reason that the ADHD stimulants would lower smoking rates as discussed with the latest research from the Duke ADHD program?
Well, again, there is a kind of more of an apathy that comes in. You're standing out less. You're living a semi-drugged life. And, so nicotine is a different kind of drug. And so, it makes sense to me on a logical that you may find that these people on long-term medication, that they're on the long-term medication, they're also forcing down their feelings of being broken. They're on this medication which basically has already destroyed their self-worth, self-esteem, told them that they're disabled when that's a lie. I do not look at ADHD as a disability, and have a very different take on it. But they have bought into that Kool-Aid and fear the difference between I'm not really myself, I don't feel like myself, but I fit in, and when I go off my medication, I don't fit in, but I don't know how to stand out in good ways. And so I think, again, that is why you have the issue where if they stay on the long-term medication, we can always get into the long-term side effects.
Dr. Kevin,
those are pretty
give
scary.
me the last question on this.
Go ahead.
But academic doping, we're dealing with college students. Do you feel the same way that ADHD stimulants would lower smoking rates in that type of group where they're abusing the drug? Say they don't have an ADHD diagnosis, but they're abusing it for basically academic purposes. So would you feel that this is falls in the same category where it would still lower smoking rates? I feel just the opposite, where if you're in that abuse pattern, you're basically more apt to do the tobacco use or any other type of drug as well. But what's your take on that?
If you're using ADHD medications illegally,
right.
If you weren't diagnosed for it and you don't see yourself as ADHD, and you're using them as a performance enhancement drug, then you are going to use other drugs that that make you feel better about yourself or help you in different ways, because it's a completely different story. So I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. I would say what we're looking at here is that if you're taking ADHD drugs, illegally, then you have two or three things happening. You're probably smoking, you're drinking, you may be doing pot to offset it, because you're stepping into the fact that you are speeding. You're speeding your brains out. Yeah, you're basically doing a pharmaceutical version of cocaine.
I got to wrap it up. Got to wrap it up, gentlemen. Doctor, one more time, give your website.
mydrkevin.com.
Okay.
MYDRKEVIN.
And you can reach Frank over at CAOOY.org. Another great story to file for us. Thanks so much, Frank.
Thanks, Dr. Kevin, for being on with us today.
Absolutely, Frank. We should talk offline sometime.
We will, definitely. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. I hope you have a great day. I hope you spend it right here